Boot Crew Media coming at you with another episode of The Drive presented by Royal Honda. Well, we are almost here for another OTA session, and it'll be on Thursday. So we're going to get another look at the team, right? And so obviously last week's session, a lot of things were made of it. A lot of conclusions were drawn. I think obviously the big thing that came out of it that's kind of seemed to run a little bit rampant right now on social media is the whole fact about Jameis Winston limping, all this other stuff. Guys, he's just a few months removed from surgery on the rehab process. Jameis Winston is fine. It's not going to be a issue right now. I mean, you're talking about things right now in June 1st. This was last week at the end of May. And again, I'll go back to what he told us, right? He said his MCL is fine. His ACL is fine. It's the meniscus that's really trying to get where he needs to be on as far as the field goes. It's really affecting. He's trying to work on his flexion a little bit on it. And look, the brace is here to stay. That's something else that some people need to realize is that the brace doesn't, he described to us, said it doesn't hinder him or anything, but he is going to wear a brace this season. Jameis Winston will be fine, guys. I just think it's something that's kind of taken out of context and thinking that it's a big deal. And rather than saying, holy crap, this guy's back on the field and doing stuff. And when he doesn't even have to, by the way, because he's a vet, OTAs, all this stuff, doesn't have to do it. But he wants to, right? He wants to be out on the field. He wants to be with his teammates. He missed football so much while being hurt and such. So good sign there. But moving into tomorrow, Thursday's OTA session, it'll be the second of three that we get to see. And so again, after that, just kind of fast forwarding a little bit on the calendar, the next thing after the third OTA session, which is going to be next Thursday, which we'll have a peek at, the team is going to have a 3-day mandatory mini camp from June 14th to 16th, which the first couple of days on that Tuesday, Wednesday will have some fans. It's kind of like where it's club members, suite members. Then the second day is season ticket holders and general public. So there is an opportunity. Make sure you go on the Saints website, claim your tickets if you haven't. It starts, I believe, June 1st or, today, tomorrow, something along that line. Just check the website. Make sure you get your tickets. You can reserve up to 4. Cool site. I know it's going to be limited, and obviously it's not training camp, but, we'll expect to hear more of that in mid-July. But, what are we going to expect? What are we looking for in this OTA session? Again, last week, we kind of talked a little bit about it, just kind of the same things that hit on, right? Is some of the big names are they going to be in attendance, right? So Michael Thomas, we got word that obviously he's not ready yet. Expect him back at training camp. There was no Marcus Davenport. There was no Peyton Turner. They were around the facility, so that's the encouraging part is that they were around. They're doing the rehab. So is Michael Thomas. I mean, these guys are around. It's just not on the field. Same thing with Marcus May. I mean, he was a late kind of or late to getting on the field, but he's not in football or not playing at the moment right now, just kind of going through some things from his injury from last season. But again, he should be fine. But obviously, speaking to him, today's a big day. June 1st is his court hearing stemming from a DUI arrest in late February in Florida. So we'll know more about that. Maybe if it doesn't go his way, obviously 3-game suspension under the new CBA. So that's something to pay attention to. So again, same things, attendance, guys that we didn't see last week, looking for this week. Andres Pete is one of them. James Hurst is another one. Landon Young is another player. Do we see Mark Ingram? Do we see Alvin Kamara? Deontay Hardy wasn't in there, right? And so some of these guys are obviously the first ones we look for. And just even from a perspective of just being able to talk to them, because we haven't in a while, that's a good sign. But that the things are on the up and up, and hopefully it continues, right, and get our locker rooms back, something that we've been missing for quite a while. But from the OTA perspective, it's still kind of the same, seeing what you see. It's not much that you're going to be able to draw conclusions from. I mean, again, there's some oohs and ahs, some highlights that you get to see. Obviously Chris Olave connecting with Jameis Winston just on a deep ball. Fans are excited about that. Everybody's excited. I mean, it's a good thing to look at and see. And so those are the types of things, last week, again, if you missed it, be sure you go back and watch my recap, because there's a couple of moments that I thought were really good. And so some guys I'm keeping an eye on, first of all, I'd say is Lucas Kroll, tight end, right, out of Pitt, undrafted guy. And so, again, you look at the depth chart on this team, there's room to move up for it. Taysom Hill right now is still rehabbing from that Liz Frank injury. Looking forward to asking Dennis Allen, talking a little bit about him and where he's at maybe in the recovery process, if he knows or if he can share a little bit with that. And then, just where things stand. Adam Troutman wasn't there last week, right? Nick Vannett is a guy that's been hanging around. Juwan Johnson. Lucas Kroll has an opportunity, right? Same thing with Abram Smith without, guys like Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram here. They have an opportunity to move up the depth chart pretty early. Obviously, anything right now is premature. And obviously, the big thing here, just don't get injured, right? I mean, that's the last thing you want to see. And again, whether you say it's a jinx or anything, that's not what you want to see out of this period, right? And so it'll be interesting to see if Winston keeps his workload too, because last week, look, I tell you, we were pretty surprised. Me in particular, I was surprised at how many reps he got. I thought Andy Dalton might have had a little bit more involvement, but him and Ian Book kind of had the same types of reps as far as when they did 7-on-7, 11-on-11, kind of 2 reps apiece, and James had upwards of 6 to 8, and even a little bit more somewhat. And as far as his work goes, so that just further proves to you and shows that this whole thing about Jameis Winston is being overblown. But again, those are things that we want to look forward to. Again, we'll get to have a lot more reactions here. We'll have a good report for next or tomorrow. Be sure to stay tuned to Boot Crew Media. Follow me on Twitter at John J. Hendrix. Follow our Boot Crew social. We'll have Lala out there. She's going to be shooting some video and some photos tomorrow. So it's going to be a real cool event. And guys, if you haven't checked out Jack Collada in his video, he sat down a little bit with Will Lutz, tuned in. He's got a lot of good things to say. That's a great sign in itself, seeing Will Lutz talk about being back this season. Huge, humongous boost to this team, right? And so check it out. That's going to be on Boot Crew Media. And obviously check out Chris's work too. He talked a little bit about Jameis Winston on Wednesday too. But at any rate, again, for Boot Crew Media, I'm John Hendrix. Thanks again to Royal Honda for producing today's show. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We're growing. We're doing some great things over here, and we want you to be a part of it too. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.